So some of the activities and lessons and ideas that I've been throwing around has really been to really focus on some of the basic math foundations that I believe are really important for, especially for younger kids, to develop early on, because these are skills that they will need later on. If they don't have, they're at an extreme disadvantage. And these mathematical challenges seem to compound and become more frustrating as a child gets older. So today we're going to be working on an activity. It's actually four different activities. It's one less than, two less than, one more than, two more than. Now these are four different skills that I would teach at four different times, and I wouldn't really combine them until I'm sure that the child that I'm tutoring has really started to develop one, and then I'll move on to the next one. And then once I'm confident the child has really developed that concept as well as the concept I've taught before, then I'll move into the next one, and so forth. Now, this this activity or this strategy is important for a few reasons, but especially because it helps children think more fluidly in terms of numbers. They start to see numbers as being related to one another, and that's an important skill that children will need, later on when it comes to addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, because a lot of times children really can't memorize the times table, for example, and they need to know relationships of numbers to help them solve multiplication problems that they're not familiar with. For an example of subtraction, I have a first grade work here of a child that I tutor. His name is Justin. And here, if we look, he's using different strategies to solve for subtraction problems. Here he used double facts, and that's something we'll do later on in one of our other lessons. So nearly double, right? So he has the problem out, and he explains his thinking. We know that 6 plus 6 equals 12, it's a double fact, and so I added one more, so it's nearly double. So he uses the idea of, he knows 6 plus 6 equals 12, and he knows that 12 is 1 less than 13. So if 6 plus equals 12, one more, 7, 6 plus 7 would give us 13. So the answer is 7. And again, this is something that he really developed while we were working on it. It wasn't a skill that was something he would pick out as one of his strategies so often. But the more we used it, the more he started to use it, and the more he started to build relationships between numbers. So today, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to have our dot cards. And we're going to also have some counters. And the first thing we're going to explain to students is that we're going to be making we'll probably do one more than first, because that seems to be an easier skill for children. One more than and two more than. So it's very simple. We have a couple of dot cards out, and here I have two, for example. We have 5, and we have the children represented with counters. And they tell us the number 5, and now we tell them that we want them to create a number that's one more than. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what you could do is you could have them do another number right afterwards. So what's one more than this number? So they'll take out the counters. 1, 2. One more than 2 is 1, 2, 3. And as they get more used to seeing the dot card representing encounters and coming up with the numeral with it, for example, 2 dots would equal 2, and 1 more than 2 is 3. It becomes a little bit more automatic. Some kids will just pick it up really easy. They'll see the two dots and they'll know right away it's 2. One more is 3. and that's okay, and that's great. So after they developed, after we worked with the 5 cards for younger children or children with some math challenges, we can move on to the 10 cards, the 10 frames. And again, we're going to have children look at the dot frame cards, and again build the number. What's the number? 10. So we have 4, 5, 10. And now what they're going to do is they're just going to represent 1 more than is 11, and then again we're going to do the next card. Here we have the number 2. One more than 1, 2, 3. Now, as children become familiar with this, older children might pick this up a lot quicker. Actually, should be able to pick it up a lot quicker. Younger kids should pick it up fairly quickly as well. But there are some children who will need additional time with this. Creating the numbers, representing it as a numeral, adding 1 more than. Some kids will just have to count it out if they don't have the counting on strategy. You need to have children learn the counting on strategy. There's an activity that I posted about that as well. So as they develop these strategies, 1 more than, you can add on 2 more than, and then you can combine them, 1 more than and 2 more than. So for example, for this, they would create the number 2. 1 more than 2 is 3, and then 2 more than 2 is 3, 4. And then what you could do is work on less than. Now less than is really important as well. For a lot of children, they can move forward and build relationships with numbers going forward, but when you're working in reverse, it's very difficult for them. Even subtraction, when you think about addition and subtraction is always the one that's more puzzling for adults as well as for children. We can always add things up, but taking things away is a lot more difficult. So working with 1 less than, 2 less than is equally, if not more important. So here we have the number 8. So again, we have children create the number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ask them what the number is. What number is this? Oh, this is number 8. How do you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1 less than. 1 less than 8 is, take away 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, you want them to use the manipulatives. Manipulatives are really important for them to build the connections. Another thing you could have is a number chart that's easily accessible, so they can look if they have trouble and they're just not learning the numerals and they have difficulty going back 1 or 2. They can always look at the chart, and it's an easy visual reference. So again, here we're going to go to the next one. We have the number 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 less than is 2. 2 less than is 1, 2. And again, we're doing these separately, so if we were doing this, if I was doing this with a student, I would work on 1 less than first, have the child get used to it, and then do 2 less than, and then incorporate both. But I wouldn't go too fast, especially for younger children, and I wouldn't, even for this activity itself, I probably wouldn't do more than 5 minutes.